So you've got these right here. To this, I'm going to add, I have some raisins here. I'll throw some of these, and I'm going to show you how easy this is and how quick this comes together. The great thing about this recipe, my son is the least picky eater on the planet next to myself. There's still things he doesn't like. So we can make this, and he can have his own bowl, and he can put what he wants in his, and I can put what I want in mine. All you have to do is change it. I talk about in my book a lot about changing a recipe. You have free license to change anything in this book, anything I teach you here today. It's not going to bother me. If you don't like raisins, don't put raisins in it. If I'm teaching a chicken dish and you don't put chicken in it, then you're probably not going to get where you want to be with it. But changing something like that, don't put it in there. That's fine. I have some craisins here. These are blueberry craisins. I'm going to add these in. These are toasted almonds. I did the same thing with these that I did with the oats. I spread them out on a pan, put them in the oven, 400 degrees for a little while. Anytime you're roasting nuts, they have a high oil content. That's why you see almond oil, sesame oil, whatever. You see peanut oil. Because they have a high oil content. When you're putting them in the oven, you better watch them. Because if you don't, they'll go from 0 to burnt right now. But, guess what I'm doing? I'm saving money. I could go buy a toasted almond. I know how to toast them. I put them on a pan, I stick them in the oven. I can do that myself, and I can save money on that. They take on a totally different flavor. That's what that is too. Oh, that's too many. No, it's not. They take on a totally different flavor when you roast them. You're cooking the oils in them. So they take on a really rich, true flavor. I love toasted almonds. These go in everything. Try them in chicken salad. You're going to love it. Macadamias. I can put these in there because I love macadamias. My son probably wouldn't. So what I've got here is this mixture now of these nuts and these fruits, and it would be wonderful. And Jessica's so happy because she teaches fit, right? You teach fitness. And this, you would think, oh, I'm an angel, right? I just thought a healthy alternative. I won't say kids because you're a young lady. You can put this in your bag. My son gets to school every day. He's starving. He's 14 years old. He gets to school, he starves. You know, he's a little skinny guy. He moves around. We eat all the time, so he's starving. Make a baggie of this. He puts it in his backpack. In between classes, he chomps a couple handfuls. He's fine. This is the perfect to-go food. So I've got this mixed in here. One thing that I always like to put in mine is dried apricots. Dried apricots have so many good things for you. One being iron that comes right off the top of my head. They have a really good iron content. I like putting these in there. They need to be chopped up because frankly, no one wants to eat that in a bite of cereal. So what are we going to do? We're going to chop these up. Through the day, I'm going to talk about knives and about cutting techniques. This is a vegetable knife. You'll notice the sweep of this blade and the tip on it. It's known as a vegetable knife. When I'm chopping anything on a flat surface, here's my two options. Get someplace where I can be out in the middle of this table and reach over and use a knife where my fingers are not resting on the board. If I have a low-bladed knife, like, I'll just use this one, for instance, how in the world am I going to chop these up? There's my fingers, and look at this gap between the blade and the board. I have to have something that the blade is offset enough that my fingers fit between that and still lay flat. The only other option is for me to pull this all the way to the edge of the table where my fingers will be off the table. People do this commonly at home. Typically, your countertops have a rolled edge. That's a flat roll. Most of them have a little bevel to them. So you're going to get over there and you're banging your knuckles constantly into the counter. So you're either going to have to push it out and have a knife that has an offset handle, or you're going to bang your counters up. I'll talk a little bit more about knives as we go, about different styles of knives. If you have knife questions, ask me. I'm going to touch on this more, especially when we get more into it. So what I'm going to do is just sort of roughly chop these. All I want to do is get these pieces to where they're smaller than what they were. Now they have a tendency to want to stick. Again, remember when we talked about the oats a minute ago, are going to have some powder on them that are going to keep these from sticking together. So I don't mind that they're sticky right now. I'm going to talk again about knife techniques here in just a few. So if you have a question about that, you might touch on that just a little bit. You'll notice how my knuckles are always bent anytime I'm cutting anything. This table is a little bit low for this. Preferably you'd like your countertops to be a little higher. Your knuckles are always bent anytime you're chopping something. If you don't want to cut these off, bend your knuckles. Again, I'll touch on that when I get into cutting some different things here in a few minutes, and some things that might be a little tougher to cut than what this is. But your knuckles are always bent, and you can touch the blade of your knife, if everybody can see this. I can touch the blade of my knife to these knuckles constantly and use that as a guide without ever putting anything in the way of getting chopped. So I keep these bent, and I just keep the blade right against my fingers. So that one's off the table, he's got to go, so does he. Because we don't want the food police coming to get us because we touched something that we shouldn't touch. I'm going to take this, I'm going to add it to here. At this point, this would probably be pretty good. We really have two options for this now. Some people, if you're not a big sugar fan, could probably eat this just as is. It's not going to be very sweet. It's oat based. So you're basically going to be tasting oats. Somewhere here, I have brown sugar. I like brown sugar in this better than I do white sugar. Again, you have free reign. Use white sugar in it if you want. Brown sugar adds a richness to this that you're not going to get out of white sugar. All we really want to do is add enough to give this a little sweetness. We're not trying to oversweet it. We're just adding enough of this. Brown sugar is sticky, right? Not anymore. It's not, because it's got all these powder from these oats on it. So I'm going to work this in like so. I'm going to spill it on the table too while I'm at it, just to show that I'm working it in. And at that point, I have homemade granola that easily. I can bag this up. I can put it in the counter next week. I don't really know exactly the safety limit on granola, so I'm not going to say next month. I have eaten it a month old, but I'm not going to say that. So you've got it anytime you need it. Go to it, use it. And the thing about it is, the great thing about making homemade granola, every time I put something different in this, it changes it. All I have to leave as a base on this are these oats. So next time I don't add toasted almonds, I don't add apricots, I don't add blueberries, I don't add craisins, I don't add brown sugar. But I do add blank and blank and blank and blank and blank. Dried prunes. I add walnuts. I totally changed the dynamic of what I'm eating, so you're not going to say, I'm so sick of this, I'm eating the same thing every day. No, you're not. Change it. Make it different. Make it for you. I'll say in this class, I guarantee you today, I'll say 5 times because I'm not going to say any more than that because I might lose that bet. You're a better cook than I am when it comes to cooking for you. You two are better cooks for you than I am. You know what you like. I am making this for everyone. You're a better cook when it comes to cooking for you because you know what you want in it. So make it. Make it for you. Make it the best. That is homemade granola that easily. We will let some people take it around. I'll add some more stuff to this real quick. That'll